Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how I get in shape to play a badass sci-fi action heroine. So before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm going to be talking about weight a lot in this episode and how it relates to my specific body playing different characters and their personal aesthetic. Now, we're going to be talking about actual numbers of weight and comparing body types of myself. Now, if this is not something that you want to watch, I totally understand that. You have my permission to go watch something else right now. But if it is your thing, we're going to be talking about my different bodies over the years and specifically how I got as lean as hell. That's what I'm just gonna call it, lean as hell, to play Nico Breckenridge. Let's talk about the characters that I am known for their bodies. It sounds weird, but here we go. Starbuck. That's the first one. That is the one that everyone seems to think is like what my body looks like. Starbuck was me at 142 to 145 pounds. Starbuck was also me drinking a lot. I smoked cigarettes at the time. I didn't work out. I was strong because I've always been strong, but I didn't train to play Starbuck. Starbuck was pretty much how I looked working out 3 days a week, just enjoying going for runs or doing yoga or whatever I was doing to stay physically fit because I enjoy it. Part of the reason why I didn't want to change her body from my own was because she and I were very similar in that sense, in that regard. She drank a lot and she smoked cigars. This is not a person who is like the epitome of being in shape as far as like her leanness are concerned. She was very strong and capable. You have to be to fly a plane, but she wasn't eating salads. Let's put it that way. So that was Starbuck. The next character that I played that was also known for her body was Doll in Riddick. Doll in Riddick, I was 160 pounds in that movie. Just for reference, you guys, I am 5'6". So I was 160 pounds during Riddick. The reason why I was 160 pounds is very interesting, actually. So I booked the role and I wanted Doll to look like a badass. Then they started hiring all of these men that were huge. Dave Bautista comes to mind. No matter how big I get, I'm gonna look like a peanut next to Dave Bautista. So what I decided to do at that moment with my trainer then was stop training to lean down and start training to push as much weight as possible and get as jacked as possible. I was eating so much food and I was eating so much protein. My doctor actually told me that he had never seen a good cholesterol and a bad cholesterol so high that the arrow just pointed more on both of them because I was eating so many eggs. It was just constant eggs. So Doll was 160 pounds. I was also curling 35 pounds. I was huge for me. From that, I went straight into the first season of Longmire. Now, Vic is also known for her body in a very different way. I cannot tell you how many times people tell me that I wear jeans better than anyone they've ever seen. And those are bootcut jeans, people. That's saying a lot. So Vic is very different. Vic is very sensual. Vic is curvier than me now. Vic is a little softer. The reason why I played Vic that way was that Vic is a busy police officer. She's not going to the gym and working out a lot. I think that in my mind, she's the type of person that probably goes for runs, but she's not really lifting weights that much. She had brothers, so she's pretty physically, capable and active, but she's not going to the gym. And so I didn't want her to look like she had a ton of muscle. I wanted her to look like like my curvy body shape. I played Vic at 140 pounds. So the interesting thing is that Starbuck and Vic are actually very similar in size. And what's so funny to me is that people always think that they're so different and that I must have like changed my body so much. Those two characters, the body, the weight is very similar. The differences are that I no longer smoked, so I was probably running a lot more, and I'd lost my baby fat. Even if you go back and you watch Longmire season 1 and Longmire season 6, you can see that I'm losing fat as I go along. And it is so much of my face and my fat in my face. I was 28 when I finished Battlestar, I was 30 when I started playing Vic, and I was 38 when I stopped playing her. So I lost a lot of fat in my face. It makes you look thinner on camera, just because you've got more definition in your cheekbones. That leads me to Nico. Nico is approximately me at 137 pounds. So that's the interesting thing about body composition and camera angles and muscle. So Vic was only 4 to 5 pounds heavier than Nico. But if you put those two characters next to each other on camera, there is such a visible difference between the two of them. To me, that is why I did this. Because you can see the difference in the muscle tone of the arm. You can see the difference in the muscle tone around the leanness of the neck. You can see all those things. And people think that I've lost like 20 pounds since playing Vic, which is just mind-blowing to me because it's 5 pounds. So that is why we are going back to do this again. Thankfully, I have Steve Zim. Steve Zim is responsible for like Chris Evans' body as Captain America. Well, actually, I mean, Chris did it. So like, you know, let's not take it completely away from Chris. But that was under Steve Zim. He also trains, I almost said Christian Slater, Christian Bale for certain roles. He trained him to play Dick Cheney, which if any of you guys saw that, that was an amazing body transformation. The body of Christian Bale and the body of Dick Cheney are incredibly different, and they managed to make him look like Dick Cheney purely by working out. And granted, there was prosthetics on his face, but they built up his traps so much that it gave him a different shaped neck. That's amazing. That's the kind of stuff that Steve Zim does. If you want to look like you can pick up a car, but you can't really, you call Steve Zim, because he knows how bodies look on camera. It's tried and true, and he has done it with enough people, and that is why I count on Steve to remind me how I did this the first time.
41 and a quarter.
Swimmer shoulders.
36. Where I take the waist is different than most people. So we take the waist from the widest spot we find in this area. And we wind up at a 33. Now at 27. Normal hip measurement is here. We take it from here. Once again, I take it from our widest spot.
Just to make a girl feel real good about herself.
Yeah, so these aren't the measurements that a tailor would take. 39 and a half, 23, 14, 22, 13 and 3/4. Make a muscle, right bicep. Look at this. Not only does she have the tickets to the gun show, but she's got the road. I like that. The whole map is right there. You need the map.
This one's little. It's not as big. It's not, the left side
the
is.
muscle?
That is the muscle. It's barely.
The map's not as visible.
It's not as visible. It's all right. It's all right.
And it's 10 and a half.
You gotta have one arm that's in charge.
We take it in 3 spots. Here, here, and here. And I apologize for the pinching.
All right. It's high.
So you are right in the middle of acceptable.
Acceptable.
So the reason for the 2 scales is I want to see how symmetrical your body is. So her body's incredibly symmetrical. You should never be even. Your heart's on your left side, we don't have a heart on our right side, and it should be about 2 pounds, so that means that she's symmetrical right to left. Where her symmetry breaks down is in the measurements. Her thighs off by 1 inch, calf is off 1/4 inch, biceps are off 1/4 inch. That's not big stuff, that's very little. Big stuff is thigh off by 2 inches. So this is easy stuff to do. As we progress through the workout, the whole thing is getting everything even. When you see somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, they look great, they're probably completely symmetrical. Our eyes love symmetry. So you're only off by 2 pounds on that, but your heart's on your left side. So you're actually perfect, right to left.
So on a doctor scale, by the time I was filming last year, I was 136 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's 8 pounds.
Yeah, we'll just bring it down.
In 6 weeks?
In 6 weeks, absolutely. Your body's just reacting now.
I had French fries for dinner last night.
You see, there's a problem. No French fries for dinner.
But it's a potato.
I understand, but a fried potato. And white potato's no good. White potato, yam. We pick the yam. You always want something that needs to break down. White potatoes don't have enough fiber to break down. They shoot into your blood really quick and elevate everything really fast. You want things with fiber that slow things down.
Yeah, I keep forgetting what I did last season, and I kept thinking in my mind, I was like, I was eating potatoes all the time, but I was eating yams.
Yes, very different. And there's things called air fryers. Those are fantastic.
Okay, no offense, but I have an air fryer. It's not the same thing, and your body knows it's not the same thing. Steve, there's only so much a girl can do.
The whole thing is not to fry things. Don't use simple fat. Don't use fats like that. You want to get fats in your vegetables, you want to get them in your food. Add good fats to your food, not French fry fat. And if you eat meat, you're getting plenty. So we don't need to add.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
All right, let's get started.
That one woman's gonna tell me I'm a cow again. There's this one lady that doesn't like me eating on camera.
Up.
Okay.
You breathe out on the sit-up. Keep your feet on the ground.
On the ground?
2. Good. Yeah. Touch your toes, stretch it out.
It's those thighs from all those bear crawls yesterday.
Those are hard.
Am I doing too much Spartan stuff? Too much heavy lifting?
Heavy lifting is not our best friend for this. You know, when we need to lean down, heavy lifting is not gonna work like that.
I'm not doing heavy lifting on my legs, but I'm doing a lot of squats, a lot of lungy stuff, a lot of bear crawls.
The problem with a lot of that is unidirectional, so it turns us in. And we need to balance everything front to back. You see where your hands are laying up here?
Yeah.
That means that you're more forward.
Right.
When we ended up last year, you ended up like this.
Yeah.
See, look at the arm here already, just standing like this. Go back to the other one, look at that. On camera, this posture does not help us. This one does. By doing all that kind of exercise, which is great exercise, I'm not against it at all, but for camera work, for looking great in a dress, for looking great like that, you need perfect posture front to back. Right to left, front to back. So nobody looks great like this. You never see any of the supermodels walking like this down a runway. Shoulders are always back. And when you're doing so many bear crawls and everything this way, we're unidirectional this way. We overdevelop the front, not the back. And the way we do it is we balance out the back to the front. Just think about it for a second. When you watch people walk on the street, this person who's up, standing upright, walking into an interview, walking down the street, they command a room. This person doesn't command a room. We're coming over here.
This is not my best friend.
And then I got a couple of gifts for you.
See how I phrase that? He's got a couple gifts for me. Look guys, it's so light.
They're light, but it's about isolating muscle and muscle groups. And so what I'm trying to do with this is work the hips, but also work back in here to help pull her back. Ready? And go. Yep, and walk, side lunge. Yeah. See, what I'm trying to do is get the separation back in the shoulder. By separating the back of the shoulder, now what we're gonna get is a leaner arm, more balanced. Everything's about balance, you'll see. It's so important that we get all that back. When you're trying to look a certain way, you gotta make sure that you're not overworking one thing and not the other. And that's what happens with a lot of different types of exercise. They don't balance anything out. And yes, you'll lose weight, but you may not end up looking picture perfect like you want.
This 2 pounds is really heavy.
3, don't cut yourself out a pound.
Oh my God.
You don't have to lift heavy.
Yeah.
You have to isolate the muscle and muscle group. So if you lift heavy, what happens is a lot of times the body part we want gets tired.
Yeah.
Now, your body's gonna get it from point A to point B. It will start recruiting other muscles to get it up.
Right.
Your traps might start getting involved. Parts of your shoulders we don't want start getting involved. Now you're overdeveloping something, you're not getting that look. So it's really important to isolate it so we just burn out this, we just burn out that. On the tricep, you don't want to overdevelop the inside of the arm. If we overdevelop the inside of the arm, what happens is the tricep starts doing that. It starts looking thick. We want to balance the outside to the inside. So this way we get a leanness, and then that separates out from the shoulder. So all this is what sets up the look, not the front. A lot of people think it's all biceps for arms. If you do too many biceps, your arm's going to look thick because this will overtake that. This should always be the prominent part of your arm that this sets into.
This is why women think that they look big when they lift muscles, because they're working out
the front,
big
the
muscles.
front. My program is very different and it sets it up. Basically, I'm actually detailing it all out so then it looks great at the end.
Like you're a sweet car.
Right? Like a superhero. Not about being able to lift the car, it's about being able to look like you can lift the car.
No, we do the same thing. We train football players, huge Olympic athletes. It's not that the training's very different, the weight becomes different, you do some different movements, you add in other stuff, but this is particularly for movie training, what we're doing. There's no downtime between sets. What you're doing between sets is actually stretching. The best time to stretch a muscle is when it's warm. Never come in the gym and just start stretching. You always come in the gym, warm up first. Get on a treadmill, bike, whatever you like to do, Stairmaster, whatever it is. Warm up a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes. Now your body's ready to go. And whatever muscle we're working, we're stretching in between sets. So this way, that's the most pliable that muscle will be. Like for example, we're doing shoulders now, so she'll stretch the shoulders. Before we did legs, we stretched the legs. So now she's down, now she's gonna get into her stretch. Everything has to do about when you do it. You can't just stretch to stretch. If we have a piece of taffy and I put them between my fingers and I stretch it cold, nothing's gonna happen. Think of that as your muscle. If I have your muscle and it turns to tendon, if I try to pull on the muscle that's cold, nothing's gonna happen to the muscle, you're gonna pull on your tendon. Take that same piece of taffy, warm it up, pull it between your fingers, boom, it stretches nice. Muscle warmed up, stretches nicely, tendons stay safe. Pull cold muscle, we're pulling on tendon, not muscle. So you can injure yourself stretching. Kinda sounds crazy, but it's really normal to do. See, the whole idea is to get the back to contract and move. If we can isolate the back, we're using the back muscles. Most people, when you work out, you're gonna feel your biceps. You're really not gonna feel your back because you're not isolating it. So it's incredibly important we go lightweight so we can put it in the back. If you're not getting it, drop the weight. Feel it in here, and you gotta think it from your mind's eye into your back.
Most people just like this.
Yeah, when you do it like this, that's biceps. Your back's kind of working. We break it up. We have 2 moves. We have a squeeze and then a pull. It's a 2-move movement. So this way we can once again isolate the back. The idea of this is to get strong, lean, and look amazing. And you will be healthy and super strong for you, but not ridiculously strong if you're gonna go train against 500 people. Not what we're doing here. That's a different kind of training. If she wanted to do just Spartan racing and not be an actress, we wouldn't exactly be doing it this way. So it's always evolving for what you need.
It's going to be interesting to do that Spartan race in April, training for aesthetics instead of for strength, and see how it's. See that I'm giving myself an excuse if I don't podium. Do you know what's a great excuse? Pandemic. I got an interesting question yesterday from a fan asking how, when I pick up my workout, how I don't eat more food. And are you just supposed to be hungry? And my answer to her, and then I erased it because I'm going to say this, but I just wanted more time to put it tactfully, is if you want to cut weight, you have to be in a deficit. And if you're in a deficit, you're hungry to a certain extent, right?
Right, but is she drinking enough water? That's the big thing. People cut their calories, that's good, stretch it out, but they underdrink water.
Yeah, see, I'm not drinking any water right now.
And here's the problem. When you underdrink water, you get hungry. The difference between hunger pain and actually thirst pain, there is none. It's the same. So, when you feel hungry, drink a full glass of water, get busy for a few minutes, and see if the hunger pain goes away. Normally, we are under-drinking water. So the water helps fill us up, so you won't feel nearly as hungry once you get used to the eating. Superhero Nutrition, the book that I wrote, breaks that all down, tells you when to eat, when to drink, the whole thing, so this way you're not guessing. Thank you for drinking.
I'm going to Mexico for Robin's birthday. If I keep my eating so clean, it's ridiculous. Can I have 2 shots of tequila a day?
No, that's not what it's not right now. Not for what we're getting to.
So I have to go to Mexico for 10 days and not have 1 drink?
If you want to hit those 8 pounds, I hear you. But you're
Shitty
asking
time to
for
go to
something.
Mexico. I went to Mexico and did not have 1 single tiny drop of alcohol. Nay, sugar as well. That's not true. On Robin's birthday, I had 1 bite of a brownie. That's it. 10 days, half a brownie. Story keeps changing. It was 1 bite of a brownie. Stop judging me.
You are asking for something. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that. No, people will claim to do it and don't do it. You know,
Right.
There's plenty of actors and actresses, oh yeah, I drank, I did it. They don't want to tell you how hard they're working. They want you to think that this is nothing. So that's working against us right now. We have a goal, we eat clean, we drink clean. This is today's workout. Every time she comes in, we have a different workout. You're never doing the same workout twice because your body gets bored. So if you go to the gym and do the same workout, lift the same weights, do the same thing over and over again, you will stop progressing after a couple of weeks. You see, I'm hitting both sides of the tricep, so I don't overdevelop one from the other. When I develop this exercise, everybody does it straight back. You go straight back and then you turn. That gives us the isolation, so you can see.
It's all coming back to me now. I'm remembering what I did last time.
French fries were not in the program.
They weren't. Not working hard enough, guys. I've been half-assing it.
And by the way, my food program, once a week you do have a cheat meal. Eat whatever you want, 1 meal, not 1 day, because you remember you can recover in 1 day. You eat a full day, it's like 2-3 day recovery.
Right.
So when you hear people, oh, I cheat 2 days a week, well, that's basically 5 days a week you get nothing done. So you get 2 days that you have something done. So it's really important to make sure.
So I'm just gonna start eating like Dwayne Johnson on his Sundays. Every Sunday I'm gonna have 25 pancakes and salt and straw and sushi and cookies, tequila, me and The Rock. Yeah, I gotta pick up my cardio too.
Some people sweat, some people don't. So don't think that because somebody's dripping sweat, they're working harder than you. That's an individual thing. But you really gotta be intense about your cardio. You need to go do the time that you need to do. Some people need an hour of cardio, some people need 30 minutes of cardio. But if you're getting too lean, you gotta be very careful that you don't do too much cardio. We don't wanna start eating at the muscle. Working out with weights is number 1. Food is number 2, cardio is number 3. I look at it in that order because if you do the food and the cardio, you're gonna tear down the muscle. What is muscle? Muscle is the engine for burning calories. The more muscle your body has, the more calories you burn just being you every day. And the concept is to keep the lean muscle, build that up, and only burn the fat. So you gotta really take your measurements, take a look at yourself in the mirror, and make sure we're not eating muscle. Because you'll get to a point that you are eating great, doing your cardio, and all of a sudden you start gaining weight. You start getting heavier, and you start looking fatter, and you're like, what's going on? I'm eating perfect, I haven't changed. You made your engine, your muscles smaller, so you're not burning as many calories every day being you, and over time, that starts to pack on weight.
I remember last time how I literally just like, I was constantly hot because my body was constantly burning calories.
See, and that comes from lifting weights. You want to have muscle. As we age, our muscle gets smaller and smaller. That's why we lift, to make sure that we continue maintaining the weight. So as we age, we're not just gaining weight for no reason.
This part's coming in. Not so much that.
Now we're getting into abs. Hands on there, walk it back, and this is like a super plank. Breathe out, pull your belly button in, and just hold this position. As you get stronger, you're gonna be able to drop your hips lower. I like to use certain types of handles so that your wrist isn't taking all the brunt of the movement, so we can focus in on the abs. Most people, when you do that with your hands, they don't like it in their wrist. So I found that handles like this work. Okay, we're almost at 1 minute hold. Take a look at the clock. Down.
It's my shoes. My shoes are slippy.
And then we can put another thing behind them.
Oh, this is just the first thing on me that comes in. It's always my abs.
You're lucky, and everybody's different. Some people, their arms come in first. Some people, their hips come in first. Everybody's different. What comes in first and what comes in last. But just know how it is for you. And if you've never done this before, just watch the pattern. It's the same pattern for you every time.
So, my pattern is upper body comes in first, then my stomach comes in, last is my butt every time. And it's the first on. We need to make one of these, babe.
It's my water invention.
The water in it?
Water inside.
Yeah, this is the best way to see what it does. This is the best way to see what it does. I like watching it when I do this exercise because it makes it easier because it's really hard.
You see the obliques, you can't go back and forth really fast because that's a muscle. You're gonna build it and you're gonna build it wider. So you gotta be very careful when we work the obliques, the sides, what I call the fourth ab part, because that, if you build it up really strong and it gets wide, you're gonna be very unhappy. So it's a big stretch movement. Yes, we're using weight because there's weight on that, but it's all about stretching, and then coming back. We want to tone this area, not really build it.
Last season I started getting, remember that when I started getting these built up? Those were starting to build up because I was doing too many single leg with my legs up in the air, dropping one leg at a time. It was building up.
Make sure that your measurements are heading in the right direction. Be honest about your food, be honest about your water. All of it has to be there to get you from point A to point B. Hold, and we're done.
Whew. Oh, these are awful. I do them on set. When I'm working, I brought my little skateboard with me. I like doing this too.
Good workout. The workout is always changing, like I told you, and I'm coming out with something real soon called ATU Mobile, atumobile.com. And it's gonna be me being your trainer anywhere from 3 to 5 days a week, whatever gym you belong to. It's not a home program, it's for the gym, and it's by your body type. So there's 10 different body types, you pick your body type, you pick how many days a week, you give me all this other information, and boom, a whole workout will come up, and it'll be videos of every single exercise, when to do them, how many reps, how many sets, and how much cardio you're supposed to do. So basically, I'm your trainer anywhere you go.
Look at that, guys. You can be a superhero too.
Ah.
Just like I am not yet.
Yes, she is.
Not yet. Yeah, 8 weeks, 6 weeks.
Watch what happens.
This is the Jacob's ladder. This is my pain, my hell. Wasn't there a Tim Robbins movie about Jacob's ladder and it was all about hell?
See, according to this, you're already dead.
This is it.
Do you think that the machine was named after the movie or the movie was named after the machine?
I think whoever wrote the movie invented this. You don't start it, you don't push a button, you just start climbing. And the faster you climb, the faster it goes. And you're supposed to do it for 10 minutes, minute on, minute off. This kills my asthma. But you can also be a half-ass if you want on this one and just like baby it. I see people here at the gym and they're like, yeah, Jacob's ladder. No, you gotta kill yourself. Rest a minute. Next movie is a romantic comedy. Why couldn't I have like idolized Meg Ryan growing up? Why'd I have to pick like Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton? You know what would be real good right now? French fries. Keeping it classy, San Diego. San Francisco? San Diego. San Diego. Let's go eat something healthy. Stop filming me, weirdo. Okay, so you've seen what I did to get into shape for another life, and we went back to Steve about a month later to see what my progress was, and we were about a week before leaving town to go film.
39 3/4.
Is that mostly just from standing up straighter?
No, it's actually back fat that comes off.
Back fat.
Call that bra fat.
Your posture's great now,
Yeah.
but there was a little bit of fat, tiny bit that most people can't see. But when you do the measurements, that's when it comes out. And you're like, oh, you wouldn't see it till it's actually down. You see,
No back fat.
and you can see the cuts in here. And that's what I'm looking for, is to create the separation that separates the shoulder out from the arm.
I'm actually just gonna take my shirt off. Cause then,
So, actually, if you do it like that, watch. Let's just do that measurement one
measurements
more time.
go down.
Yes, because I'm not wrapping around the shirt. That's 33 1/4.
I think we did it in a sports bra last time, right?
Remember,
So that becomes a whole inch off your back again at 28.
this is where the real work comes in. Although this is still a little,
Okay.
that's gotta come in a little bit.
And 3/4. That's down a 1/4 inch, but there's nothing left here to come down. So we're building out the booty basically, we're building out the glutes, and so that's what's gonna start adding size when you're that lean. That if you see a measurement go up in the hip area, it's not really hips, it's your glutes. Right thighs at 21. We started at 23 a month ago, we're at 21. 13.5.
Everything feels tighter.
Do you feel like you have a tighter you, perhaps? Ah!
21, 13.5. Your legs are completely symmetric. Calves did not come down. They started off at 13.75 your left, 14 your right. Now they've settled in at 13.5, completely symmetrical. They will probably not come down anymore
Yeah.
because that's it. There's no fat on them and you're running a lot. So they will either stay there, they might even go up a 1/4 of an
Yeah.
inch, but that's about it.
Okay.
Okay, biceps. We started off at
That's different, guys.
10.75, but you see, I always, everybody goes, oh, you want the tickets to the gun show? Yeah. But what I want is the map. I want the road map to that show. And that's what we have. It's a separation between the bicep and the tricep.
I remember when we started, that wasn't
is
there.
10 3/4. So when we started, first measurement was 10 3/4 on the right bicep. Then as she was leaning down, it went down to 10.5. Now, even leaner, her muscle went up. We're back to 10 3/4. So you go, oh, a 10 3/4 inch arm is great. This is a different 10 3/4 inch arm a month later. This is all muscle, very low fat. The other one was a mix of more fat, less muscle. So you can see the appearance in the pictures, but the size stayed the same at the end of the day. Just very interesting.
Yeah, that's very clear too.
Yeah.
There's such a difference between my arms and my shoulders.
Ready? And
Yeah.
go.
This is not as good.
But they're even in size, 10 3/4.
I'm like a tomato. My poor little left arm doesn't do much.
But that's pretty incredible to have everything completely symmetrical in such a short amount of time. And that's the whole idea, because visually, when you take a picture of yourself in real life, when you're symmetrical, you look fantastic in a picture. People don't realize.
It's interesting too because we talked about this time that I kept the muscle that we gained last time, and so I'm actually not as light as I was before, but my body looks the same.
Yeah, and once you own that muscle, long as you maintain, you can keep it. When people talk about upping their metabolism, what are they actually talking about? Well, how do you up your metabolism?
Right.
The only way to up your metabolism is to build muscle. Muscle burns calories at rest. So you build it, you tear it down in the gym, it builds, and there's more of an engine there. So that's what burns calories. You want lean muscle like what you have, so it's much easier to maintain once we've developed that muscle, and to keep it is easier than getting there.
Yeah, because I'm not eating as clean now as I was when we started.
Based on from last time, how long did it take you guys comparatively to get her to this body?
Well, we did this in what?
A month. Last
This
time,
took longer.
9 weeks, 12 weeks.
Yeah, it was longer.
2 months.
For sure. Wow. We started off at 23.6 1 month ago. 23.6 is good. 15.4, amazing. For a woman, 18% and below is excellent. So if you're at 18%, that is excellent. On camera, 18% will be good. Once you get below 16, it starts to look really great for a woman. Men are different. Their body fat percentages are different. It's 12 and below is excellent.
For a normal person though, being in this acceptable
Acceptable.
range and up is a good thing, right?
If you're between 21 to 25%, for a normal person in this country, you're probably in the top 10% of body fats in this country for an adult. It's a number that people do not realize is really hard to obtain, to be that low. And that's low. When you see most people, they're gonna be much higher. And people don't realize that they really are in the unacceptable range, and they think that they are better than they are. That's why you need a body fat test to go, oh wow, because it's not healthy to be in these higher ranges of body fat. Now, I'm not saying somebody has to be thin. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about body fat percentage. You might be a big person, but your body fat percentage is low. So you need to know the number. And that's really, really important for your own overall health.
Go get your body fats checked, guys.
Yeah, you don't want, for a woman, you gotta be very careful when you get to that 12% body fat. That starts to get in ranges that start to change your chemistry. So you gotta be very careful. The number we're at right now is right on the border, and you gotta be careful not to go down, because when you get on something like this where you're going really great, you can easily from this start slipping lower and lower. This is a very healthy number to stay at. It looks great on camera, it's healthy for you, you're not pushing the envelope. But when you start to get down to 12s, 13s, you start pushing the envelope for a woman and things happen. So it's the same thing for a guy. If you get down to 8, that's really great. You start to go to 7, 6, 5, you gotta be very careful.
Well, that's why last season, when I got down to that point where you told me to start eating more,
Yes.
because I started to get a little carried away with my weight loss, and I wanted to look a certain way for the beginning of the show, which was almost malnourished. So I got there, but we needed to get the weight back on fast because it wasn't healthy. My period started changing. It wasn't the best thing. So.
Yeah, and that's the danger, and that's where you can't see it in yourself. It's really kind of weird. You think you're looking fantastic. I know that we had something to get to create a certain look, and I've done this a lot, but it's the whole time we're talking is, listen, once we get this, we gotta start adding some food back in. We gotta be very careful, because you can get very comfortable at that lower weight. It's kind of weirdly fun, but you don't see yourself. You're looking in the mirror and you don't see what we all see. So we held it, we did it, but now we're past that. And so this is a really healthy place to be at. So I have you here at 139. We started 1 month ago at 144.
Right.
So that's 5 pounds of scale weight off. Her body fat percentage is down, 8% down. So I'm gonna do the math out. I'm gonna tell you how much fat you took off versus how much muscle you put on.
Right.
You originally started a month ago with 33.98 pounds of fat on your body, which is good. We are now at 21.4 pounds of body fat. So you have dropped in the month 12.58 pounds of fat. Now, why does the scale show
Right.
doesn't show 12 pounds. Well, because you put on muscle. You went from 110 pounds of muscle up to 117 pounds of muscle.
Right.
You gained 7 pounds of muscle. The scale is really interesting. It's not the end all, and that's what people need to understand. The scale is just part of the measurement to get us to how many pounds of muscle, how much pounds of fat you're putting on and taking off. What people do, and they make a huge mistake, they look at that scale and they gotta get that scale down 10 pounds, they gotta get that scale down 15 pounds. How are they doing it? You can't lose really any more fat. So what happens, they start to cannibalize their muscle. Their muscle starts to go. So they're trying to get that scale down. As they're getting it down, because they're actually cannibalizing the muscle to lower the scale weight, they're actually making the engine that burns calories smaller. Muscle burns calories 24/7.
Right.
So the scale weight is not the whole thing. There are 3 parts: body fat, scale weight, and muscle. Those are our 3 things.
Right.
So we have to have them all in a correct balance to maintain and get us the look we want.
So all those women out there that are scared of lifting weights because they think that they're going to gain weight, you may gain weight, but your body fat's going to go down. You're going to get smaller.
Absolutely.
Right.
And that's really important to understand. And people still cannot wrap their brains around it because they're like, well, the scale said I went up 2 pounds. I've done so many videos so this way I can teach people what I'm talking about. I had one girl, she came down 2 dress sizes in a month.
Wow.
But she gained 4 pounds on the scale. And her pictures are like, oh my gosh, the pictures were so radical. Everybody's like, but she gained 4 pounds on the scale. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Right.
She lost a tremendous amount of body fat. She gained a tremendous amount of muscle. But not muscle that's gonna make you look like too muscular. But muscle that burns calories. And the dress sizes went like this. So what do you care what you weigh if your dress keeps coming down and you look great in pictures?
Right. The scale is a tool, and I think that people they use the scale and they let it literally dictate their life. Like, I don't really weigh myself if I'm not working and I'm not trying to get down to a goal, because my relationship with it got so out of control that I had to just stop.
Yeah.
Because it fluctuates constantly.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
It fluctuates from morning to night. It fluctuates if you drink something or you don't drink something. It fluctuates if you're having that time in the month.
Yeah.
I mean, and a few days before and then after, it just always is going up and down. It's not really fair. But the amount of muscle you have, that's a slower process to build and a slower process to break down. So that over time is really the gain.
Right.
And the inches, we gotta see the inches. If your waist is down 2 inches in a month, that's awesome.
Right.
Who cares if the scale stayed the same?
Yeah.
If you're looking completely different and you're happy with the way you look. So
Yeah. It's weird though, because there's still a part of me that's unhealthy with it. That's like, I tried on a pair of pants that fit me while I was filming last year that don't fit me now because they don't fit me in my butt. But I think I have more muscle in my butt this year than I did last year, which makes my butt seemingly bigger.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're shifting, and that's another whole thing.
Well, my body was in shock, remember? So when we started I think it was when we first did my body fat, and then like for 2 weeks, I was gaining weight on the scale at home, and I was starting to panic. My body was in shock. My body was like, all right, calm down. I had to get used to lifting heavy again and working out and like getting the cardio in, and my body was seemingly swelling. It only lasted for a week and a half, and then it went down.
Yeah. And everybody's different.
Yeah.
You know, it happens a lot that's what happens. Is I kept telling her, don't worry, I promise you, it will change.
Mine shifted on vacation in Mexico. That was my karma fairy telling me that it was proud of me for not drinking tequila when I was in Mexico.
I can attest, she didn't drink a single shot of tequila like you said.
I didn't eat one flour tortilla. I brought my coconut tortillas with me.
She was zero fun because of you.
Aww.
Here's the deal. I gotta be honest with you. You have a goal. You make a choice in life. Are you gonna be the person that obtains your goal, or are you gonna be the person that makes an excuse? And whatever you're fine with, I'm fine with. It's all good. But we have an opportunity here. She's going to be the lead of a television show for the 2nd time, same series. The body is a big part of that show. What do you want to do? Do you want to show up, I did okay? Or do you want to show up like the character? Would that character who's the captain let anything stand in their way? I don't think so.
No, she would not. So we got to Vancouver, you guys, and my body was exactly where it needed to be for season 2. We shot for 3 weeks and then we shut down because of COVID. So my body is not where it needs to be anymore because the last thing I'm gonna do in a pandemic is go into a caloric deficit. I mean, it's stressful enough, y'all. All right, guys, so that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed that, hit the subscribe button, hit that little alert bell, and come back for more fitness episodes. If you enjoyed Steve's methods, he has got a lot of books on sale on Amazon. And he's got a great book that I followed the first time around called Superhero Nutrition. It really helped me and it sort of lets you know what his principles are. So go check that out too. Bye.